Hello friends. I am Satish Lele. This video is part of my chemical process piping channel on YouTube. This video is about Condensate Recycle. Steam is usually generated for one of two reasons: to produce electrical power, for example in power stations or cogeneration plants; to supply heat for heating and process systems; when a kilogram of steam condenses completely, the kilogram of condensate is formed at the same pressure and temperature. An efficient steam system will reuse this condensate. Failure to reclaim and reuse condensate makes no financial, technical, or environmental sense. Saturated steam used for heating gives up its latent heat and fails to evaporation, which is a large proportion of the total heat it contains. The remainder of the heat in the steam is retained in the condensate as sensible heat and fails to water. As well as having heat content, the condensate is basically distilled water, which is ideal for use as boiler feed water. An efficient steam system will collect this condensate and either return it to a deaerator, the boiler feed tank, or use it in another process. Only when there is a real risk of contamination should condensate not be returned to the boiler. Even then, it may be possible to collect the condensate and use it as hot process water or pass it through the heat exchanger where its heat content can be recovered before discharging the water mass to drain. Condensate is discharged from steam plant and equipment through steam traps from a higher to a lower pressure. As a result of this drop in pressure, some of the condensate will re-evaporate into flash steam. The proportion of steam that will flash off in this way is determined by the amount of heat that can be held in the steam and condensate. A flash steam amount of 10% to 15% by mass is typical. However, the percentage volumetric change can be considerably more. Condensate at 7 bar gauge will lose about 13% of its mass when flashing to atmospheric pressure, but the steam produced will require a space some 200 times larger than the condensate from which it was formed. This can have the effect of choking undersized trap discharge lines, and must be taken into account when sizing these lines. Calculating the amount of flash steam from condensate. Hot condensate at 7 bar gauge has a heat content of about 721 kilojoules per kilogram. When it is released to atmospheric pressure 0 bar gauge, each kilogram of water can only retain about 419 kilojoules of heat. The excess energy in each kilogram of the condensate is therefore 721, 419 equals 302 kilojoules. This excess energy is available to evaporate some of the condensate into steam, the amount evaporated being determined by the proportion of excess heat to the amount of heat required to evaporate water at the lower pressure, which in this example is the enthalpy of evaporation at atmospheric pressure, 2258 kilojoules per kilogram. The percent of flash steam equals 302 divided by 2258 into 100 equals 13.4%. The amount of flash steam in the pipe is the most important factor when sizing trap discharge line. Condensate return. An effective condensate recovery system, collecting the hot condensate from the steam using equipment and returning it to the boiler feed system, can pay for itself in a remarkably short period of time. Why return condensate and reuse it? Financial reasons, water charges, effluent restrictions, maximizing boiler output. Boiler feed water quality. Condensate is a valuable resource, and even the recovery of small quantities is often economically justifiable. The discharge from a single steam trap is often worth recovering. Unrecovered condensate must be replaced in the boiler house by cold make-up water, with additional costs of water treatment and fuel to heat the water from a lower temperature. Water charges. Any condensate not returned needs to be replaced by make-up water, incurring further water charges from the local water supplier. Payback period is 35 weeks. Effluent restrictions. Water above 43 degrees centigrade cannot be returned to the public sewer by law, because it is detrimental to the environment and may damage earthenware pipes. Condensate above this temperature must be cooled before it is discharged, which may incur extra energy costs. Similar restrictions apply in most countries, and effluent charges and fines may be imposed by water suppliers or non-compliance. Maximizing boiler output. Colder boiler feed water will reduce the steaming rate of the boiler. The lower the feed water temperature, the more heat, and thus fuel needed to heat the water, thereby needing less heat to raise steam. Boiler feed water quality. Condensate is distilled water, which contains almost no total dissolved solids. Boilers need to be blown down to reduce their concentration of dissolved solids in the boiler water. Returning more condensate to the feed tank reduces the need for blowdown and thus reduces the energy lost from the boiler. The amount of energy in a kilogram of steam and condensate at the same pressure. The percentage of energy in condensate to that in steam can vary from 18% at 1 bar gauge to 30% at 14 bar gauge. Clearly, a liquid condensate is worth reclaiming. Determine the payback period. Total saving equals fuel saving plus water saving plus effluent reduction. Payback period equals cost of project divided by annual savings equals 35 weeks. Thanks for learning. If you like this video, please give a like to my channel and subscribe it.